Let's talk about BlockBuster and the death of America. What does BlockBuster have to do with the downfall of the American empire? Let's talk a little bit about BlockBuster first and its history in the United States. I promise you I will get to the point. So BlockBuster was a magical place that people would go on their Friday and Saturday nights to rent movies and video games. They might get pizza afterward and then hang out with their friends and family and enjoy the weekend. It was a staple of American culture in the 90s and in the early O's. BlockBuster was a stable institution. I mean, to the point that there were thousands of BlockBuster locations all over the world. BlockBuster was a business model that was as stable as, I don't know, the housing market in 2007. But at around the 2004, 2005 to 2008 mark, there was this young upstart of a company called Netflix. Now, with Netflix, they had a really strange business model. They were renting movies on DVDs and mailing them out to their customers. And not only that, they were getting into this new thing called streaming over the internet. So Netflix approaches BlockBuster, which is the biggest movie rental company in the world. And they say, "Hey, BlockBuster, will you please buy us for $50 million? In comparison, and that is a fraction, a tiny fraction of what Netflix is valued at today. Do you know what BlockBuster's response to that was? Well, BlockBuster, solemnly took them into their offices, over the course of weeks and months, completely scoured their books and, weighed the pros and cons of whether or not they should buy Netflix for No, that's not what happened at all. They laughed them out of their boardroom. Blockbuster Video laughed Netflix out of their boardroom when they asked them to buy them for the measly amount of $50 million. What would have amounted to chump change for Blockbuster at the time. Now, why did Blockbuster not want to buy Netflix or start its own streaming service at the time? This gets into the crux of the downfall of America and why it can be analogous to Blockbuster. You see, Blockbuster looked at Netflix's business model and realized that it just wasn't going to work for them the same way that they were making money. You see, Blockbuster made money from renting movies and video games. Fair enough. And, maybe with candies and sodas and things like that. But the way that they really made money was through late fees and rewind fees. And when Blockbuster looked at Netflix and said, hey, wait a second, with their business model, we won't be able to charge late fees for streaming movies because it's just coming into their house. And we're not going to be able to charge rewind fees because you don't have to rewind a streaming film. No, we're not going to do that. So they completely dismissed the business model. Why? Because they wanted to continue doing things the way that they had always done them. It's the same thing with the United States. Now, some of you may look at the Trump administration and be like, no, we're forging ahead. We are breaking new ground. We are innovating with Elon Musk. But I will address both the right and the left. I will address both conservatives and liberals and their ideology that has both of them stuck. Now, I'm not saying that the two parties are the same. No, I'm not getting into that entire false equivalency, because I do think that left ideas with conservative leanings probably work the best. but I will criticize both sides here. Conservatives, with their ideology of wanting to make America great again, they want to go back to the Reagan era. They want to go back to the 1950s when things made sense. And it makes complete sense why they would go for a guy like Donald Trump. Donald Trump is tall. Donald Trump is white. Donald Trump is rich. He embodies all these things that America felt proud to look at a certain time in America's history. He represents an archetype. So to want to gravitate towards this image of stability makes sense for America. America did not want to go toward a Black and Indian woman president because that doesn't represent the stability of what they knew from the past. But with liberals, if at all are moving at a forward pace, if they are all being progressive, they are moving at a snail's pace. In fact, they more than anything kind of want to just stay in the same place and shuffle things around. The only person who was truly progressive, truly wanted to take America into the 21st century and into a new social and economic place where everyone could prosper, was an old crazy-haired man who, for the most part, has been preaching the same thing for the past 30 or 40 years of his career. That billionaires should not be in charge, that it should really be a country of the people, by the people, for the people. And that was Bernie Sanders. But the establishment didn't want him, and so the establishment kicked him out, both on the right side and on the left side. So, what is going to happen with America? Because it either wants to go back, which isn't really an option, or it wants to kind of like stay the same in like these kind of murky waters. I'm not saying a swamp. America's gonna go the way of BlockBuster because it does not really want to adapt to the fact that we are moving into a global society. That, yes, you do have a lot of black and brown people, the global south, if you will, even though I don't know if I completely agree with the whole idea or term calling it the global south or the global majority. That is a block of people who are bringing back the power dynamics back to an equilibrium where Europeans and European Americans are not maintaining all the power anymore. And there is a fight to maintain the old guard. I don't know if you've heard of BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. If America is BlockBuster, then BRICS is Netflix. America got really used to exploiting their own people and people around the world through their version of late fees and rewind fees, and their unwillingness to adapt is going to be its downfall. If you don't know anything about BRICS, YouTube it or Google it, because every day more and more nations are joining it. This is Moses. Let's move forward together.
Kids today are passive watchers versus active readers. At conversationswithcharacters.net, we aim to change that. You and your kids can have conversations with characters like Jean, Gandhi, or a Vietnam POW. Just visit conversationswithcharacters.net and talk to any number of characters and explore history, culture, and learning in a new way like never before. Sign up and read select stories for free.